Are you learning guitar and you feel like you're missing something? Well, today I want to teach you how to practice. And I'm going to do it through the lens of Mario Kart. A lot of people think practice is like playing a video game, and it's not. There are some related things. Obviously, learning a skill is learning a skill, whether it's Mario Kart or guitar or any new skill, really. But I want to draw some parallels, and then I want to draw some distinct differences that I think a lot of people learning guitar just don't understand about learning the instrument. I also want to show you my practice method, but before we get into that, let's talk about video games. So when we're talking about how you spend your time playing a video game, you have a lot of loading screens. So you're waiting to actually develop your skill. You got to get set up to actually play the game. If there's a particular level that I want to play, a particular course I want to practice, Yoshi Circuit, this is a good one. I got to devote equal time to the entire course. And what I mean by that is, of course, you just experience in real time going around the course. So there's no stopping to retry unless you want to restart the entire race, right? So if you miss a corner, which I don't think I'm going to do here, but oh, I got in the grass a little bit there. That slowed me down. So if I wanted to practice that shortcut, I would have to hope that I get a mushroom the next time around the next lap, and then I would have to hope that I can hit the same thing and then actually figure out what went wrong last time I did that. All of that while playing the rest of the course in real time and sort of thinking about, okay, when I get to that part again, I hope I can remember. Like, now that I'm in first, I don't think I'm going to get a mushroom, so I won't be able to take that shortcut. But I can bomb someone instead here. But the idea that I'm trying to talk about here is, when it comes to practice, this is where the two things are very different. Yes, I'm developing skills right now, I'm practicing, but I'm sort of practicing honing my instincts, and I'm not actually practicing a specific part of the course or a specific move. And this is where you can get into danger with guitar or any instrument, really. In my opinion, one of the bad habits people can fall into with guitar is treating it like a video game, where you stay in that flow state, you try to get that satisfaction of kind of getting lucky and getting that perfect lap or getting that perfect finish to your level. With guitar, you don't want to get lucky. In Mario Kart, you might have a lucky day where you just perfectly get first every time, and that's never happened to you, and you're like, wow, what a beautiful day. You don't want music to be like that. You want to be able to practice all those difficult sections and really think through how to tackle those sections, how to make them better, how to make it easier for yourself, how to know what to do and prepare for that section when it comes up. I think there's a real danger and a real pitfall getting stuck in that video game flow state mindset without stopping to think. As we work through my practice method here, I'll give some examples that will make you think a little differently about how you're practicing so that you can be more efficient, more effective, and sort of improve quicker. So now that you have a good sense of the difference between learning an instrument and learning how to play a video game, I want to ask if you've ever seen like a children's piano recital. A lot of times you get something going on like this. Mm-mm. Uh-uh. So what's going on there is sort of a combination of linear memorization and also a lot of repetitions of the very first part of the song, and then as the song goes on, you've played the rest of the song fewer and fewer and fewer times until it's like, I've played the first couple notes of this song 100 times. I've played the last notes of this song 3 or 4 times. That's a bad scenario. That's what this practice method is for, and that's what it helps with. So, starting with step 1, perform the whole song or a whole section of a song. And for Mario Kart, this would be the equivalent of just try out a level and see how it goes. The reason I wrote perform a whole song or a section of a song is that it depends on your skill level. If you are skilled enough that you can try out a new song and you feel like you can get most of the way through it with some mistakes or just figuring out how it goes, similar to just getting through a level on Mario Kart, that would be perform a whole song. If you are just learning a song for the first time, it might be try to get through the verse and see how that goes, right? So then step 2, we have identify. Identify the most difficult moment. So with Mario Kart, the most difficult moment might be, oh, every time I go around this corner, I hit the wall for some reason. And in a song, this might be, oh, this particular chord switch is really difficult for me. Or, oh, the fingering for this, or I have to jump positions from here to here, and that just makes it a lot trickier. Step 3, describe, is probably the most important step, because what you're trying to do is use words to describe, to explain, to hypothesize really, what is going wrong in that moment? What is making that moment difficult? Am I not getting to a certain fret in time? Am I putting the wrong finger on the wrong string? Am I putting the right finger on the wrong string? Am I putting the wrong finger on the right string, right? I'm supposed to go third finger, third fret of the fifth string, and I'm going third finger, third fret of the fourth string. Be specific. The more specific you are, the easier it's going to be to get better at that particular section. Just as a side tangent, part of what this is designed to do is to get you out of the non-verbal flow state that a lot of people get into when they practice. Some people get addicted to this feeling, and it is a really good feeling to just tune out all your thoughts and just hear sounds coming from the instrument you're playing. It's a beautiful feeling. But if you want to improve at the instrument, you have to wake yourself up out of that flow state and actually use words to describe what's going wrong and figure out how to fix it, which is where we go to step 4, which is design a zoomed in micro practice loop for that specific moment. This right here is one of the biggest differences between video games and guitar. If you're playing Mario Kart and there's one tricky corner, you only have 3 laps to practice that corner, and the rest of the time is just waiting to get to that corner. With a zoomed in micro practice, that would be like the equivalent of setting up your cart on a straightaway right before that corner and just being able to loop practice, getting around that corner, starting over, getting around that corner, starting over, getting around that corner. The idea here is basically how many repetitions can you get in a small amount of time. In other words, if you're playing Mario Kart, you've got lap times that are about 2 minutes, and you've got 3 laps. So that means over the course of 6 minutes, you will have only been able to practice that corner 3 times. The beauty of learning an instrument is that you can just reset at that corner, try it, reset at that corner, try it, reset at that corner. And instead of 3 times in 6 minutes, you can do it 30 times in 6 minutes. That's the beauty of practice, and that's what I'm talking about with the zoomed in micro practice, right? You want to find that exact moment where you go, okay, I keep putting my third finger here, or I keep picking the wrong string here. And you take that moment and you practice that moment over and over and over until it gets easier. Then you do a macro practice. This is step 5. You place that micro loop in a wider context. If this was Mario Kart, you would go back to the corner before and then the corner after, and you would practice, okay, the corner leading up to the tricky one, the corner after it, then you loop that again. The corner leading up to the tricky point, the corner after it, then you do it again. You're making sure that you haven't practiced that section so much that you forget the lead up to it. With guitar practice, that would be, okay, I'm going to be strumming the chord or 2 before that section. It's the difference between like a 3-second practice loop versus maybe a 10-second practice loop, which is still much better than a 2-minute practice loop. So once you've placed that micro practice loop in a broader context, then it's time to go back to step 1 and either practice the section of the song that loop comes from, or practice the whole song and see if it's easier. And if it is easier, great. Now you can go through again and identify step 2, identify the most difficult moment now. It still might be that moment. That's very common. But then you get to do another hypothesis. Why is that moment so difficult? Is it difficult for the same reasons? Did something else come up while I was practicing it? Be specific. If it's the same things, it might just mean you need to do more micro practice. If it's something slightly different, it means you got to describe what's slightly different about it this time and come up with a plan to do a micro practice to solve that problem. So with step 4 and step 5, if you're still having difficulty, part of what might be the problem is that you're playing things at full speed. You really want to make sure you can slow things down to give your brain a chance to go, oh, I see, I was stretching all the way here. I really need to get here. And sometimes tempo is the only way to do that. Imagine someone talking too fast at you to the point where you don't have time to process all those words in a row. And you say, hang on, say that slower. Your brain needs that for music. If you're practicing at full speed and you feel like you get lucky sometimes and you actually nail it, that's bad, unfortunately. That is that flow state addiction. That is that video game addiction of, yay, I made it. When you're learning a piece of music, you want to know it so well that that section isn't difficult for you anymore. And part of the way to get to know that section better is to slow it down and walk through the steps and say, my first finger here, third finger here, second finger here. Part of what makes that switch so tricky is I'm actually switching with my third finger first when I should have been switching with my second finger first, because that's the note I'm going to be playing with my right hand first. So I'm waiting longer than I need to when I could just hit that note and then make the rest of the chord. Things like that make a huge difference. And tempo is a really important part of that. If you are not used to playing with a metronome, I actually suggest starting with a drum beat first and having that drum beat louder than you and just getting used to feeling the pulse of that beat and playing along with it in time to a pentatonic scale or something like that. I also have some important notes about playing with a metronome. If you're going to be playing with a metronome, you got to make sure that when that metronome is on, it is the main thing you're paying attention to. When that metronome is on, that is sacred metronome time, and you're taking it very seriously. And if you notice yourself ignoring the metronome, turn it off. It means you're thinking about too many things at once. Or slow the tempo down so that you can really focus on timing. So timing-wise, the way you could think of Mario Kart is we've already imagined a world where you could hypothetically set up at a certain corner and practice it over and over again. Another thing you could imagine is, what if your goal is 200cc Mario Kart, the fastest Mario Kart there is? You could bump down to 150cc or 100cc or 50cc just to really study that corner and really get to know it. Of course, the mechanics are a little different at those speeds, and it's the same with the metronome. But the more you get to know that corner through those various different speeds, the easier time you're going to have with the faster speed anyway. And thinking that way about music can be a game changer for you to improve your skills. Performing the song is being in that flow state. But if you haven't practiced enough to be able to stay in that flow state without making mistakes, then you got to get out of the flow state, use words, you got to have critical thinking and describe what's the problem here, how do I solve it, then go back to that flow state and try to just play that whole song all the way through. Flow state is not bad, but it is reserved for performance. And when you're practicing, you want to use words, you want to stop and think, you want to slow things down, you want to really observe what's going on with both hands, and then you want to make hypotheses. How do I make this better? What is the problem? If I do this, does that make it better? Look, I'm doing this specific thing that's making it better. This is how you practice. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. See if it helps improve your playing. This video is sponsored by a series I've been doing on my Patreon called Practice Thoughts. This is where I just do talks like this about how to practice or mindset stuff related to playing music, tricky situations you can get into with your practice or with what to learn or how to learn or some things to watch out for. Generally just like encouragement and good stuff to think about while you're learning your instrument. Come check out that series if that's interesting to you.